Okay guys, 7th time recording this. There was a lot of derps. Because this is a voice acting thing. This is Meulin x kurloz sadstuck silence. If you cry easily or don't read Homestuck, I wouldn't necessarily recommend watching this video. So, and if you don't ship Meulin x kurloz, which is insane, I don't see how you couldn't do that. But anyways, I'm just gonna do this. I had woken up in the middle of the night, thirsty for a drink of water. When I came back, Kurloz looked like he was in pain. I got back into bed and snuggled up against him so he would know I was right there, and I loved him. I had never seen a more pained expression on his face before. I sat up and tried to wake him. When he woke, his face was contorted in agony, and the noise, the honking, it was so loud, so awful. My hands rushed to my ears, but it didn't help. I curled into a tight ball, and it continued for what seemed like hours. I began to cry. Then it stopped, and I blacked out. When I woke up, Kurloz was kneeling above me, shaking me. It looked like he was speaking, but I couldn't hear him. He held his hand up to look at it, and it was covered in green. My green. He helped me sit up, and I shook my head, but I still couldn't hear him. Speak up, I can't hear you. I couldn't even hear myself. He was crying. I could see him sobbing, but there was no sound. There would never be any sound again. The next day, we went to Arania. The walk there was awful. We walked past our friends, who waved, but we said nothing, and kept walking. Kurloz had his arm around my shoulders and wouldn't let me go, like I was the most delicate thing in the world. When we reached her hive, Kurloz explained what had happened. She examined my ears and the rest of me, to see if my ears were the only thing damaged. They were. I looked to Kurloz. Will it be permanent? I think is what he asked. I turned and looked at Arania. She just nodded. I've learned to live with my new disability, but Kurloz, he never recovered from what he did to me, even though I don't blame him. I went to his hive and let myself in, ringing a special bell he'd placed by his door, so he would know it was me who had entered. I walked up the stairs like I usually did and saw that his door to his room was closed. I knocked, counted to 3 and opened, as we had agreed. There I saw the most horrific sight. Kurloz sitting on the floor with blood everywhere, and his tongue laying in the floor in front of him. I shakily walked over to him and looked at his face, and immediately started to cry and fell to the floor. He had sewn his mouth shut. There were no sounds anymore. I'll never know if he had cried out when he had done it. No one will ever hear his sweet, charming, charismatic voice ever again. And I will never hear anything ever again. Now and forever, for both of us. There will only be silence.